Hey everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new playthrough. This time we're going to be revisiting Solomon Kane. Now, I did a playthrough of it before where I played all 4 virtues, and what's going to be different about this one is I'm going to be playing the solo mode, which uses one of the virtues, Providence, who is more powerful than the others and allows you to play just one of them during the entire campaign, which we're going to be doing this campaign scenario, Witchfinder General, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Now, I've already got everything set up, and I'll walk through quickly how that works, because really this game looks daunting when you first see it. It's got so many cards, so many tokens, so many miniatures, so much stuff, and you go, man, that looks crazy. But in reality, it's not that bad. It's not bad at all. Actually, the game mechanics are pretty straightforward. It's the storytelling and all the stuff that comes into play that's pretty cool. And again, if you're interested in learning how to play, go back to my previous playthrough where I played all 4 virtues, and we played Rattle of Bones, which we did not win. So hopefully we'll win this one. I hear a lot of people don't win Rattle of Bones. Rattle of Bones is one of the scenarios they suggest to start with. But we're going to be playing Witchfinder General. And there's a little blurb on the back. I'll read it to you real quickly. It says, "So, brother, it is rare to find another of the faith so proficient in the martial arts. What brings one such as yourself to Essex? I travel all over the world, to all corners of God's earthly creation. And where I find the devil at work, I drive him out." Kane replies, but his eyes glittering dangerously in the gloom. So that is basically the story. We're going to run into another person of faith, much like Solomon Kane, who's a Puritan and fights the evil powers that be. Now, in Solomon Kane, just as a little refresher, you don't actually play Solomon Kane. You're playing his virtues, the things that guide him and drive him to do the right things. And the virtues are physical, like real manifestations that hold off darkness and drive away the shadow and bring light and illumination to Solomon Kane, while at the same time providing specific guidance through pain and determination and courage. And it's just a cool concept. And again, we're going to be playing with Providence. Now, we're going to go through her setup, Providence, him, her. I don't know if it's what Providence is supposed to be. It looks like a guy, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to be playing Providence. So what do we do here? First off, this is your first time playing, you're going to set up the storybook. And the storybook is broken into a couple of sections. There's going to be story elements, and then there's going to be scenes, story and scenes. And the scenes are we're actually going to have like tiles out, and we're going to move around the board and interact with miniatures, maybe talk to them, maybe fight them, who knows, all kinds of things. And it's broken into these sections, and we're going to have to pay attention to all of them, and then we'll deal with the story concluding. You can see that this one has 10 chapters. Most of them do. Some of them are bigger than others. This one is not one of the larger ones. Just to give you an example, let's see. Let's pull out Skull of the Stars. Look at this, 3 times as thick as the one we're playing right now, for example. And I may do more of these because this game's pretty cool. And when you're playing solo, the actual gameplay runs pretty quickly. All right, so here we are. We're going to play Witchfinder General, Act 1 of 1. It says, "Sir, the devil is here all right, and I shall meet him, as I have done many times before." Solomon Kane from the Witchfinder General. This story is a story based on Robert E. Howard's Solomon Kane series of books. And then when you go to the next page, it tells you all the things you need to set up. I've already gathered all these materials for the game. And then we're going to get right into our first story chapter. Now, in this one, we're going to be illuminating the path for Solomon Kane to try and provide him better guidance in the future parts of the game. And it dictates whether or not we have a bright path or a dark path. And also gives us some additional benefits on, and again, I'm not going to go over all the rules, so you'll just have to follow along if you don't want to watch like an original video. There's lots of great ones out there. Quack did a great one. Rolling Solo, One Stop Co-op Shop, Meet Me at the Table. Myself, I've all done playthroughs of this if you want to just learn the rules. So check those out if you get the time. And let's get started. Chapter 1A, The Choice. Solomon Kane rides along a well-traveled road in the country of Essex in southeast England. It is a warm July morn. The countryside is flat and verdant, populated with many towns, villages, and farming communities. Though the scene is peaceful and pleasant, the land is racked by civil war, and the threat of bloodshed and terror is never far away. By mid-morn, the Puritan rides into a small village, Manningtree, where he intended to water his horse and pick up some supplies. In the center of the village, a crowd is gathered, and the atmosphere is charged with aggression and menace. The villagers form a ring around two distinct groups facing off against one another. The first group are rough, dangerous-looking militia types, incongruously led by a Puritan who is dressed just like Kane. The other group are parliamentarian soldiers, also a dangerous-looking bunch, led by a dashing young officer. Though he is too far away to hear what is being said, Kane can see the two groups are on the verge of attacking one another. Fury reddens visages as hands steel to sword hilts and pistols' grips. Solomon Kane quickly dismounts. It's too late to stop the violence, so he must pitch in on one side or the other to finish it. So, now we know what Solomon Kane is going to do. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to build our darkness deck. It requires 4 cards. The darkness deck is right here, and you're going to be building this after every scene. Also, it shows you what our starting values for our virtue track is going to be. It's going to be basically pretty high, actually, in this one. I wonder why. Even so, the compassion is at a 7. Everything's at a 7, except for danger, which is at a 4. So, this did not get mixed up well. Uh-oh. Got some cards in the wrong order. Let's see. I think we're okay there. Yeah, all good. We'll just get that solved. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. And we're going to draw 4 cards. Now, one of the things you'll do often in this game is add cards to your darkness track because you want to prolong the event. Because we obviously want the bright path. So we're going to try and illuminate Solomon's path. If we get 2, we'll do that. We'll get through that. We'll go on the dark path. If we get 3, we'll go on the light path, and we'll get to adjust our board by 1. If we get all 5, we get 3 adjustments to our virtue board, which gives us better stats and abilities and helps us with the interactions we're going to have in future parts of the scenario. So you can see you set yourself up pretty well if you're careful. So, okay, so we're going to go 1. I'll just cut again. 2, 3. I guess there's still 1 sticking out there. Okay, and 4. All right. That is going to be our starting darkness deck. Now, it also says, now you understand that there are a very specific set of cards related to the scenario, and these are those right here. It also says there's a special thing right here. We're going to get D1209. There's special rules here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we'll get D1209 out. Let's see where that is. That's interesting. It starts at D1242. Maybe I didn't get all the cards for this yet. Wait, they're going backwards. Okay, D1209. Here we go. So we're going to get this card out. It says Solomon's Judgment. A brother in the faith stands on the verge of a violent altercation with a roundhead officer. There is no time to ponder the subtleties. Kane must pick a side. Choose. Solomon sides with the roundhead officer. Solomon sides with the Puritan. Man, y'all, this is one of those things about this game. You have to make choices. Okay, well, let's do this. We're going to say, I think we're going to Obviously, he's got to side with the Puritan. That's his boy, right? I mean, come on, we got to do that. We don't have to, but I think that's the choice that we're going to make. So we're going to go with D1242. So I'm going to put this aside for right now. We're going to look for D1242. That was right on top. Wow, okay. Siding with the Puritan. Solomon checks the Roundhead officer. Why were they fighting in the first place? A Puritan would never be involved with political matters, and this one must clearly be defending himself. Even if he didn't know the reason, Solomon decides to intervene. This is something you can take action on. Solomon sides with the Puritan. This is Solomon's judgment. This remains in play, and we'll keep that in a play area right above the board. So you've got to remember that he made that choice, and that's his choice. That's it. So now there's a couple things we can do in here as a special part of the scenario. The virtue may take a talk action and talk up to 5. D1200 or 6+. That's the score we get. You'll see how all that works when we do the talk action. Or if we get a 6+, we do D1201. I'm going to assume that if we do better, we have a better outcome. But we also have to get light in here. Okay, so again, we're all set up for this scenario. We're going to move on and get ready to, we're going to set up Providence, talk about Providence, and we're going to get going with the game. Not that we weren't going with the game already, but you get the idea. Now, here's how this works. There are a set of 8 cards for Providence. We're going to split them into 2 piles. We're going to get to pick one as our starting hand, and we're going to get to place 2 of those out. And then the other 4 are going to go into our draw pile. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. We got those 4. And so let's take a look at these. Now remember, we're trying to get light, so light's pretty important. Now Providence has already on his base capabilities the ability to move or place 1 light, but we also want to talk or fight or explore 0. That's not great, so we're going to need to buff Providence up as well. Place Providence on the board. That's not going to happen because we're in a story element. So let's see, what do we got here? We got explore, draw. We got move to, or move up to 2 to different sockets. That's not very good. Fight. Okay, we're going to put those ones aside and look at the other ones. Those aren't fantastic for what we're trying to do. Add or remove a darkness. That's great. +1 strength, compassion, or clarity if Providence is on the board. Okay, that one's not going to help us. Place 2 light. Okay, so we know what we're getting. We're taking this as our hand. Okay, and we're going to put out 2 of these cards. The first ones we're going to put out is going to be place 2 light. We'll put it right there. Now, it could matter which side you place them on, because sometimes some of the darkness cards will make you get rid of one of the others. So hopefully this was the right move, but we really don't know. And then we're going to place this one to be able to add or remove darkness to that side. This is our hand. We'll just put that right there. And this right here is our draw pile. Now, how the game works mechanically is we're going to start the game with 3 dice, and we're going to roll them. The dice have a bunch of symbols on them. And I never remember exactly what they are, but there is a handy-dandy guide for that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to find it in the rules because I want to share with you what those are, because thematically it's meaningful, right? Now, gameplay, they're just symbols on a die. But, like I said, thematically, very important. And as I'm looking it up, I do remember some of them. There we go. Okay, so this is faith. Now there are 2 faith symbols on it, on each side. Faith is a wild. It means you can use it for anything. And then you have the 2, these are opposing on each side, by the way. So this is bravery, and then the one on the back side is, this is bravery, right here, and the one on the back side is fear. I thought they were the other way around, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. And then you have determination and pain. And those are the symbols that are on the dice. Now we're going to roll these dice, and we're going to allocate them. And just to give you a quick, there's a quick handy player aid that shows you exactly what to do. We're going to start the turn effects. There aren't any. We're just going to keep going right now. We're going to roll 3 dice. We're going to flip or roll 1 die. You notice we have this ability. We can make a choice as part of our abilities every time to flip or roll 1 die. If you flip it, it means it goes to the opposite side. You can always look even though you know what's on the opposite side. So then we're going to form our dice pool. That means by placing them out. We're going to, after we flipped it, we have our dice pool. We're going to allocate our dice, and then we're going to resolve our dice. We're going to place new action cards. We can replace these. If we have to replace them if we've used them with new cards. If we haven't used them, we can choose to replace them, and we can put down 2 new cards. And then at the end of the turn, we're going to flip the token over, but we're playing solo. We don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to go on to the darkness turn. So let's get started. We know what we need to do. We've chosen sides. We have decided to side with the other Puritan, which makes sense for Solomon Kane. though we didn't have to, and it could have changed the outcome tremendously, probably will. And we have this ability to talk, so we've got to remember we do that, but we don't have any bonuses right now. Well, I take it back. Compassion, is it clarity or compassion that governs talk? I think it's, I don't remember. But anyway, we'll figure that out, because I think either one I have a +1. So we do have a bonus, but that's not great. Anyway, let's roll, because we also need to add light. So we've got a couple things we need to do here. Let's see what we get. Was that a good roll or not? Let's see. Well, this one, to place 2 light, is pretty costly, so we're going to have to reserve some dice to do that. So both of these are good. Now, I can only reserve 1 die per turn, so we have to figure out what we're going to do. Let's see. On this one, I can... I don't have these. So I could re-roll a die, see if I get lucky, or I can flip a die, but that's not going to help us. I can do this. I can talk or fight 0. We can take a chance. I mean, at least we have the dice for that, right? Because we have both of them. So maybe I can do this with a fear and a pain, and I can reserve that one. That might be a good start. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm just looking at it. Because remember, we need 4 dice, so I got to put some dice in reserve if we're going to get this 2 light. I could have done that one. Man, this is rough, because you never know what the darkness cards are going to do to you. So I think what we'll do is this. Yeah, that makes sense, because then I have 1 to make sure I get the light. Though, man, it's so cool that I have both of these. It's just too bad I can't get to it yet. All right, well, let's do that. So we are going to have a first action. This is pretty cool. Hopefully we can get a decent enough card draw to make that go. And I'm going to show you how that works now. Because now that okay, so first off we allocated. I chose not, let's go in order. I rolled them. I chose not to flip or change the dice face. Okay. Then I allocated my dice. I put 2 here and 1 in my reserve, which means I can use it next time. And that gives me 4 dice to play with on the next turn. Might be able to do that. We'll have to see. Be pretty cool if we could. And then we're going to take the talk action. For an action like this, we have this massive event deck, which I'm going to shuffle up. And in this case, we're not going to read the event itself. We're just looking for the number that's in the corner. And hopefully we get a 5, because we have a +1 due to our I think I don't remember if it's clarity or compassion. I'll have to look that up. But anyway, it's one of the 2 determines which one. It's been a while since I played, so I just got to double check a couple of rules. But basically, I believe that is the case here. And of course, it's not readily obvious, so I'll figure that out. But either way, we got a +1 right now, so it's okay. We haven't even drawn a darkness card yet. So anyway, I'm just doing a big shuffle on this because I don't remember if I had or not. And then we're going to put this down, give it a cut, and hopefully we get a good number. So this is the heroic one. The one on the left is a 3, so he got a 4. That is not that great. Anyway, we'll discard that. And we'll move this deck aside, and then we have to look at what it says in the book. So I tried to talk to them, and I didn't do that well. I got a up to 5, which is what I got. So D1200 is what we're going to go to in here. Pretty big stack of cards for a scenario that's not that big, huh? And here we go, D1200. We can do it again until we get through that one, but this is probably going to have some ongoing thing. Let's see. One man's opinion. Solomon Kane dismounts and pushes through the crowd to step in. Pushing to listen to a villager offers his opinion on the matter. Reveal a random discovery card from this set. I'll pull those out. If the card belongs to the side matching Solomon Kane, place 1 light. Otherwise, remove that card from play. Okay, well, that's interesting. So we're going to get D1202. So 02, 03, 04, and 05. And we're going to randomly select them. So let's see. How are we going to do that? But I am going to shuffle these, and then I'm not looking at them, and I'm going to draw from the bottom. So, see, I'm actually shuffling in front of you, but not looking at the camera. So I hope they stay in frame. Okay, we'll do 1 cut, and then we'll draw. So we got D2 or D1202, which is one of the cards. Yep. Okay. Good. The Witchfinder. The villager tells Kane that the Puritan is none other than Matthew Hopkins, a self-proclaimed Witchfinder General who terrorizes the good folk with false accusations, torture, and execution. The Roundhead officer might be right. Solomon Kane feels the need to right the wrong caused by this peer of his. This is a Roundhead card, so this gets discarded. If Solomon's judgment was the Roundhead, I gain +1 compassion. If there are 2 Roundhead event cards in play, reveal D206. There are not, and that one is now discarded. So we still have the other 3 to go. I'm just going to keep them aside for now. And this does not remain in play. Okay, it's an instant, so that gets discarded as well. Well, that was our first action. Not very fruitful. Also the end of our turn. No light. It may not go too well for us because now we have to draw our first darkness card. We're going to add 1 to the danger level. That's all that happens. So it's going to go up to 5, and that's it. So you can see once we get going, there's a lot of story in this one, but once we get going, the game itself is okay. Now, I can choose to get rid of one of these 2, and I don't think I want to, because neither of these are going to help me gain light. So I think we're just going to stick with that. I didn't use them. We're going to do that. We drew our darkness card already. I should have done that before, but I wasn't going to change them out anyway. So, oh, and I messed up. I had, which one was it? I think it was this one. And we're going to roll 3 dice. I got to grab another die. And I'm going to roll these and see what we get. Come on, baby. Okay, so is this it? Yeah, we can. Yes, okay. I am going to get this 2 light on the board right now. I'm going to show you how. So I can get this one or this one, but let's do this one and get it going. So we're going to flip a die. So I already have one of these. I'm going to flip it to this. Either way, if I mess that up, that's okay. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then I need 2 wilds here, or 2. Any 2 there, so we're going to use these 2. We're going to get 2 light. That's going to be our entire turn, but that's not bad because we get to place 2 light on Solomon Kane's path. How that works is simple. We're just going to do this and this. So Providence is helping to guide Solomon Kane to the right decision, and I think that's very important. But that's going to end our turn. Remember, we only got 3. Well, we got 4 cards total, so we got 3 cards left to do so. Either get a bunch of light or try and add a card. I have the ability to add a card, or remove a darkness card, so I'm holding that in reserve. Okay, let's wrap up our turn and get to the next darkness card. So now, because I use this, it is going into my discard pile, which I will put right there. And then I can choose which one of these. I can get rid of that one, but I don't want to. I think we'll put this one in here because while it does add to the danger, I can increase one of my stats. It's better than this. This one, well, this isn't too bad. It doesn't lower my compassion. It gives me a talk 4. What am I talking about? We're going to do that. We're going to try and get this too because I can lose a compassion but get a 4 off the bat. And that would add to the card that I draw. So that might give us that good outcome that we're looking for. Yeah, okay, there we go. So that's what I did. Now we're going to draw our next darkness card. Boom. +1 danger. Oof, my danger is at 6 already, y'all. But that's all that happens, +1 danger. Okay, and then we're going to go back to our turn. Now, we don't have 4 dice anymore. We only have 3. So hopefully we get lucky and can do this. Let's see what we can do. Well, we got sort of lucky. I'll keep these 2. So right now we rolled our dice. Now we're going to get our dice pool ready. I'm going to use the reroll ability. And we did not get lucky enough to do. Well, we did actually. We did. We can do this. I can also do this and get 3 light guaranteed. I have 2 more darkness cards left. If I do this, we'll lose a compassion, but we'll get to do the talk 4, and I have a feeling that will give us light as well. Because if all I need is 2 to get, I think we can do that. I think that's going to work out in our favor. So let's do this. We are going to place this one here as not a wild because it's required for the roll. You can only ever replace 1 wild. Oh, wait a second. I do have it, yeah. Then we'll place this one here. We'll place this that one in that slot right there. We're trying to do an interrogation right now. And then we'll place this wild. Now we're going to use this one as a wild right here, so it does work that way, and that's good. So we've been able to do that. We placed all our dice. We got 2 faiths, and I just want to remember, always trying to remember the name, what those symbols are. I believe that one's something good. Determination. So we got 2 faith and determination. We're going to lose a compassion. So we lose a compassion. We're down to 6 from 7. But we are going to get to do another event. So, and now we're going to take this card. We're always going to use the one on the far right, the red one. That's the heroic. Solomon Kane always does that. So let's see what we get. A 4. That is fantastic. So 4 is going to give us what we need. That means that while we lost a compassion, we got an 8, which means we are going to get the D201 card out now. So we get to do that. It doesn't say you can't only do it once. It says you can, virtues may take the talk action. Now remember, it's taking our action, so it is important. But what do we get here? A range of views. Solomon Kane overhears a group of villagers talking heatedly about the dispute. Reveal 2 random discovery cards, D102. We already got that one, so it's going to be one of these 3. If one of those cards belongs to the side that matches Solomon Kane's judgment, place 1. If both cards, place 2. If neither card belongs to the side that matches Solomon's +1 danger. Well, this is going to be good for us because we know we already... Now, again, I don't know what these do. I suppose if you played this month, you might. So we know that the first one was not... I tell you what, if we take the 2 middle ones, we have a very good chance of a 50-50 shot there. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll put D1205 aside, and it does say... Now, we already got D202 is gone. We already did that. Then we got D203 and D204 and D205. We're going to take the 2 middle ones. Hopefully... Oh, man, okay, we lucked out here. All right. The villagers tell Kane that the Puritans' militia are local ruffians, no better than brigands. They falsely accuse people of witchcraft and are paid by the sheriff for every one they execute. Gritting his teeth, Solomon raises the Roundhead, realizes that the Roundhead officer might be right, feeding a roaring anger inside him to stop this wrongdoing. This is a Roundhead card. If Solomon's judgment was Roundhead +1 strength, it's not. If there are ever 2 Roundhead cards in play, reveal D206. But the last card said to remove all cards that don't match Solomon's judgment. So this is not in play. So that goes away. Even though we're realizing the problem we've had. Roundhead scum. Okay. The villager spits on the ground and grumbles that the Roundhead scum interfere in the rightful prosecution of witches within the country. While the situation is dire nationwide, the Puritan may be right, and nobody should interfere with God's work. This is a Puritan card. If Solomon Kane's judgment was Puritan, it is. We're going to gain +1 strength. If there are 2, we know the next one is a Puritan card, so if we can talk again, we will get both of them. This now remains in play next to siding with the Puritans. And we're going to gain +1 strength. We're at an 8, so fight breaks out. We're in pretty good shape here. All right. And that means we have done... Remove all cards that don't match. Okay, so we have done 1201, and that's going to go back in the deck, actually. It doesn't say it goes out of the game, because we can do it again, and now that we know what we need to do, we're not going to have that talk action again, so it may not be something we can accomplish. But with that, we do also... Does it say we gain a light? I don't remember. No, we gain +1 strength, so we did not gain... Well, hold on. We might have from the main card. Let's take a look at that. If it matches, yeah, if it matched both, we would have gotten 2. So we gained 1 more light on the board to illuminate our path. And we got 2 cards to go before we finish this objective, the choice. So we're at 3 right now. We're actually on the bright path, but I want to get more because darkness cards can take light tokens away, and that's not good. And then maybe we can get lucky and we can move some of the light tokens over to Providence and fill up Providence's capabilities so that when we do have an encounter, we can use it better. We're kind of realizing that neither of these groups are great, but the Puritan might be a bad dude. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, we've used all of our dice now, so we're going to put these aside. This card will get discarded. We're going to pick... Now, we always have 2 cards to choose from, so I should have drawn one last turn, but it's okay. Guile, we can fight for 4. Or do that. Or Dignity +1. I think we'll, if Providence is on the board, repeat this action. So we can use that. It's just not fantastic. And then we'll draw up another card. What do we get? Oh, there we go. Move 2 or up to 2 different light sockets. So that's the one we want to get out next, I think, as we head toward the end of this. And then, of course, we're going to draw our darkness card. Now, we only have 1 left, so hopefully this does not take a light. 1 virtue removes all dice from their reserve. We don't have any. That is fantastic. So that card did nothing. Now we're going to roll. Now we want to do this. Let's roll our dice. We got that. Okay, so basically, I'm going to use the ability to flip a die. We're going to turn that to that. Put the faith in reserve. And we're going to go here. That'll put a 4th light token on our path. We are illuminating Solomon Kane's path pretty well. Man, I sure would like to do one more talk, but that's going to be it. So I didn't use either of these cards. Do I want to get rid of any of them? I do, I think. But we could add a stat here if we get lucky enough, and I have 1 faith already. My 2 cards. See, this though, this is so worth it if the next darkness card, if I can get 1 more light on this. move up to 2 light to a different place so I could put him like in here and power up Providence. Or I can do this. I don't know which one's better at this point. We're still really good on stats, so I think I am going to discard this one right now. And we're going to put Resolve in play. But this is going to be our last Darkness card, so hopefully, we're not going to be able to do anything. This is our last Darkness card. -1 Compassion, so we're not very compassionate. We got kind of pissed off at this whole scenario here. But that is all 4 of our cards. So while we lost 1 Compassion, we did complete the scenario on the bright path with a bonus. That's awesome. So here's the outcome. If Solomon's path is bright, we're going to go to 2A. It is. If it's dark, we're going to proceed to 2B. So we're going to go to 2A. I'm going to leave the cards where they were. I can still go to the end of the round. There's no darkness. Actually, it doesn't matter. When that darkness card got drawn, it ended. Luckily, that didn't go away. So we're going to get 2 adjustments to our track. One is obvious. We're going to knock down because that's one of the end. If we get to here, we're done. If we get to here, we're done. And can't go any farther. So we're going to do that. And I think we're going to bump our Compassion back up 1. So those are going to be our 2 adjustments for completing this scenario. And then we're going to go on to the light path. I'll get rid of all the light tokens and let's move on. So now we're going to jump into a scene. This is chapter 2A, A Popular Opinion. Solomon Kane makes his judgment on which side he must support. A visceral decision. He pushes his way through the crowd, and as he does so, overhears remarks from the gathered villagers in support of one side or the other. The Witchfinder be no good, I tell you. He lies about these poor women, and I hope the Roundheads do for him. So they want him to kill him. And them Roundheads ain't welcome. They're causing trouble and interfering with the good Lord's work. I know them lads with the Puritan, and they be no better than brigands, robbers with badges. They gets paid by the sheriff for every witch they hang. That Thomas Downs, as always had idea about his station. Now he's with them Roundheads, and no doubt thinks he'll get a promotion for this bit of trouble. Kane overhears fewer opinions that support his choice of whom to side with than are for it, and he finally bursts forth from the crowd, sword and pistol in hand, just as the men on both sides of the conflict draw arms and go at each other. With the crowd behind him, Kane knows he has made the right decision. Okay, what was his decision? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, right, we're going to have 12 cards. We're going to get D1208 out. So I'm going to put D1205 back. We didn't actually use it. It doesn't matter. I don't think it'll get used now. But we're going to go to D1208 and get that out. That's probably going to dictate a bunch of things for us. And by the way, this is a scene. So I'm going to set up a board, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So here's our card. Let's see. Melee. Guardsmen and parliamentarians eagerly seek the other's bloodshed. Each group led by a potential and charismatic leader. At the end of each virtue's turn, roll 3 dice. For each of these symbols, move a soldier 1 towards the nearest thug, and then place a wound token on a thug in the same area. For each of these symbols, move a thug towards the nearest soldier and place a wound token on the soldier in the same area. It remains in play. Okay, now, we have some keywords. This is something else that you want to look at, and stats. So sword thugs have a health of 3. 2 sword thugs have a health of 3. Halberd soldiers, health of 3. Spear soldier, health of 3. And the villagers, we can talk to the villagers with stats. Our objective is to resolve the conflict. Outcome revealed through discovery. Okay, so we don't know what the outcome is. Otherwise, we're going to proceed to 3C. Now, we do have to get 12 darkness cards. I already put the old ones back in here. We're going to give it a quick shuffle. I'm going to draw 12 cards. And that will probably end this episode. Don't want to be too long. And we'll get set up, and then we'll end the episode. That makes some sense. So you can see the setup of the scene we're about to go into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, there is our darkness deck for this scene. And that's going to dictate a lot of things that happen on the board. Now, let's flip it over and take a look at what we got. So the first thing we have is we're going to place this due north. Right, boom. There we go. And we're going to get these tiles out here. I'll get this set up completely and show you what we got going on. Okay, here is our setup. Now you can see that we got the sword thugs over here, and this is the, I think the bad guy, or the Puritan rather, his name is Thomas, if I'm not mistaken. or Hopkins rather, Hopkins. And then Officer Thomas is over here with his soldiers. There's 2 soldiers there and 2 there. 2 thugs, sword thugs here. Now, normally in a multiplayer game, this would be Justice, but because it's Prudence, we have Prudence on the board. Now, Prudence currently only has an aura of 1 around her, so that's okay, him, her, because we don't really need that right now. There are a couple of villagers here and a couple of villagers here. These are the spawn points for darkness, shadows rather, and there's only 1 shadow starting on the board, and it's up there on 16B. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to have happen here. I don't know the story at all. I just know that we're about to get in the mix between these yokels, and we have chosen to side with the Puritan, though I don't know that we're forced into that role. And it basically says, like, this remains in play for the entire act, so it says we sided with the Puritan, so I think I have to go with that and head after the soldiers, though I don't know how I feel about that at this point. It seems like the Puritan is not a good dude, but we got to roll with it, right? That's the choice we made. So anyway, guys, we're going to take a break here. We'll see you in the next episode. We're ready for the next round. We're going to have a big old fight. We're going to talk to some villagers, perhaps. Maybe they'll help guide us. I don't know, because we do have a talk action in the scenario, which is going to be right here. We can talk up to 5 and 6+. So we want to get that talk card back out. Maybe by the time we get to the Puritans, we can. Unfortunately, that light card that I got out, that we can socket up to 2 lights, doesn't help us, but it does help us move. So that's called Resolve. So it can allow us to move a little bit. I think we're in a good place. We'll see how this starts off. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I don't think I made any errors in this, but if I did, let me know. I'm sure you will. And I will talk to you in the next episode. Take care and see you soon.